Talofa Lava, Samoa. A very nice afternoon to everyone. And now we have commenced to one of the highlights of this 50th founding anniversary in USP Alafua, the book launching of 50 years teaching, research, and training in agriculture at the USP Alafua campus. So we would like to welcome and acknowledge our special guests in front. We have our research coordinator, Dr. Muhammad Abdul Kader, our Vice Chancellor, Regis Chandra, and our Pro-Chancellor, Winston Thompson, and our Director and Head of School, Professor Muhammad Umar. And also, our academic staff who are here with us this afternoon, our IJN staff, students, visitors, and everyone, once again, welcome. So, to formally introduce to us this very significant book, may I call on Dr. Muhammad Abdul Kader for the introduction of the book.
Good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to this book launch. We have made an attempt to compile, synthesize majority of the information on evolution of teaching, research, and their extension to the stakeholders by the USP Alafua campus since last 15 years in this book entitled 50 Years Teaching, Research, and Training in Agriculture at the USP Alafua campus. So this is the book we compiled. This book has 180 pages with 5 chapters. This is the draft version. The first chapter describes the brief history of agriculture teaching and research at Alafua campus since last 15 years with some future directions. Chapter 2 contains all the abstracts of PhD and MSc thesis researches conducted here at SAPT. 2 PhD and 51 master's students were graduated from SAPT since its establishment at the beginning, and the master's graduation was a little bit slow, but last few years it rapidly increases. Every year now we are graduating 3 or 4 master's students, and every year we are graduating 1 PhD students continuously, and in future probably there will be more. Chapter 3 represents the list of papers presented in regional symposium, workshops, and training organized by IRETA, along with the summaries and recommendations made by those scientific events. Chapter 4 enlists all the scientific articles published by the Journal of South Pacific Agriculture since 1992 to 2017 and Alafua Agriculture Bulletin since 1976 to 1989. At the beginning, School of Agriculture and IRETA published scientific articles and extension notes in Alafua Agriculture Bulletin. In total, 373 scientific articles and extension notes were published in Alafua Agriculture Bulletin. Later on, after 90s, Alafua Agriculture Bulletin was divided into 2 streams. One is the SPAN, another one is the Journal of South Pacific Agriculture. SPAN start publishing only the extension news, while JOSPA publishing scientific articles. In total, JOSPA has published 232 scientific articles until now. At the last chapter, this is the chapter 5, we have made a abridged version of some selected articles published in JOSPA and Alafua Agriculture Bulletin. I hope this book, our alumni, students, researchers will be benefited from this book, because these books they will easily get all the information in one book. Now the information are available, but they are scattered. But now we compile them together and put them together, so somebody can easily get those information easily. So they can know what our the first researcher has conducted the research, so they can easily know now, and they can make their plan. So what they left for them, so they can easily make their plan. Now it's scattered in different places. Now we made them easily, we documented together. So I hope everybody will be benefited from these books. Thank you for your patient hearing about the book. And when we publish the final version, because we don't have the ISBN number and something, so we did not publish the final version. When the final version will be published, then we shall give it, we distribute it widely. Thank you everybody again.
It's a real pleasure to be part of this afternoon's event. This morning, we had just about a successful launch that any campus would want to have of the moment to shine in Samoa for the Alafua campus. And I've known the Prime Minister for a long time, and today he seemed to speak with a great deal of passion. And I also know that he's not a person that praises things easily. He's quite a critical kind of person. So I think all of us, and particularly all of you, can feel very satisfied, you should pat yourselves on your back, because when somebody who is heading the government and has that kind of influence speaks about the about SAFT, about the campus in that way, that means that you all have done an outstanding job in producing the kind of teaching, kind of research, and very importantly, and kind of extension, very importantly, you have been engaging with the country. And this is a message that many of you will remember I constantly talk about, because the success of all our campuses depends not only on the value of what we produce, but on how we get about our business and relating the work we do to the aspirations and the needs of our countries and communities. And I think that Alafua campus and the school are doing that to such a good extent now that we have the kind of affirmation that we saw today. To get all the alumni from the first Samoan graduate to the newest alumni expected to be once they graduate, the parliamentarians, and to see all of them marching with great pride, I think, it certainly made me very, very happy. So I think this book launch comes on the back of very significant endorsement this morning of the partnership we have, of the quality and relevance of what you do. So I wanted to go back to that a little bit. And I also want to go back a little bit to when we had the SIDS meeting here. And we all came, all of the people attending SIDS, came to Alafua for a visit. And the quality of displays and the quality of presentations made a big impression on the visitors who had come from all over the world. And I remember saying to Mohammed that in many ways, when you look at the number of enrollments in postgraduate courses and the number of people who complete it, Alafua campus is punching well above its weight. It's producing many more postgraduate students than would be normal for most schools with the same amount of resourcing. So it's a matter of pride. It speaks to good leadership, and I want to especially acknowledge the outstanding leadership that Muhammad Umar is providing, but it speaks to the team that all of you make up, because when something like that happens, it's because of the team. And now to the book. So it is really good to do what you have done, which is to document the whole evolution of the school, IRETA, the campus, because one of the shortcomings of the university in different campuses is that we often do not document a lot of these things. And history is very important, and it is the foundation on which we build the present and the future. So I'm very glad that you have done that, and I'd like to congratulate Dr. Abdul Kader, Dr. Jagdish Bhati, and of course Professor Muhammad Umar for the initiative, and all the other people who have helped compile and bring it to this stage. The Pacific is a strange place in one sense, that many people do things when things have been done because either they do not read up and know that that has already been done, so you advance knowledge by doing something more, or they ignore what is around. And they can ignore that because this information is not in the public domain that easily. It's scattered across, so if people make the effort, they'll do it. And what this book does is bring it all together in one compact, concise manner. And one suggestion I would have is that the book be published in both versions, the normal publication as well as the e-version, because all of you will know that quite often we rely on the web to give us the information, to check things, etc. So if you do that, your reach will not just be in the Pacific, it's global. And that's what we should be building very significantly, is our partnerships and connections right across the world, and emphasizing how Alafua is already the Pacific hub for agricultural research and teaching and extension, and how we can take it forward. So thank you for doing this, and I'm also very pleased that it's been done, because we tend to celebrate big events by, eating and dancing and enjoying ourselves, and sometimes not with legacies that are left after the celebrations. So this is in that attempt to leave legacies, this book will be a very important legacy that we go forward. And I looked through the book itself, and the only suggestion, most of you know me, if I'm doing something, I'm full of suggestions about what we can do. So I've suggested to Professor Umar that we add another chapter to this book, because so far we're looking at introspection and retrospect perspectives on how we have come to the present. And the 50th anniversary is significantly about celebrating the past, understanding the present, and then very importantly, positioning the university for the future. So in that short chapter, you can talk about how you see IRETA, SAFT, and Alafua going forward. And clearly, very central in all of that will be research, postgraduate work that you're already doing. So you're building from the present. It's not a hard thing. Many more PhDs and masters. So that is going to be important. But the other thing that is going to be very important is innovation in the area of food technology, food security, etc. And you have a wonderful record of innovation. I mean, you will display 50 products. And I think that if you paint a picture of the future around those things and claim your right to be the hub for agricultural education, agricultural research, and agricultural innovation, I think that's what will really position the school, IRETA, and the campus well. And of course, if we have been successful in engaging with countries, the future is one where we scale that engagement even further, because it is in that engagement and it is in that success of others that we will realize our own success. So thank you very much. Congratulations once again.
I'm really delighted to be able also to congratulate those who have contributed to producing this book that is being launched today. And I'm sure it's an effort of many people. These enterprises are never the achievement of one person, although quite often one person is the main instigator. But in its production, there are many to have contributed. So I would like to add my words of congratulations, along with Vice Chancellor, to the production of this, because as he has already stated this, and we all know that it is an absolute essential to provide a record of what has been done, so that this can guide future researchers and inquirers and people who are interested, not only guide them, but also provide a background that can be used to build further. Because unless you remember what has happened in the past, you're likely to repeat the mistakes that were made in the past. But if it has been documented, that at least will give you the direction that you need to go. So it really is a great effort at producing this. And so many publications I see that are there goes to this. I'd also like to give a little bit of my view on what has happened. As some of you may know, I undertook an agricultural program in the 1950s. And last time I was here and we had a visit around the laboratories, I was remarking that the way the courses were structured in the days that I did it, in the mid-1950s, is quite different for the structure of agricultural courses these days. Quite a lot different. And it is quite intriguing that that's happened. I started my work after graduating in 1962, as Professor Umar said, in the Ministry of Agriculture, and I spent 16 years of my life in agriculture. And my focus in those days was to try to assist in the redirection of subsistence agriculture in Fiji, so that particularly the landowners who were completely subsistence dwellers were able to compete a bit better in the developing economy that Fiji was in the 1960s. Because as you know, after the war, when the war ended in 1945, there was a big move to decolonize. And many countries agitated strongly for independence. And countries like India, and split with Pakistan, the African country, colonies, agitated, and Nigeria and Ghana, and those countries became independent in the early 50s. In the Pacific, we didn't move so strenuously, although Samoa was slightly different. Samoa did agitate for independence, but Fiji didn't so much. So part of the responsibility in those days, in the 60s, was to prepare Fiji for independence. Samoa, as I mentioned this morning at the launch, became independent in 1962, was the first of the Pacific Island countries to do so, and did it ahead of Nauru, which was the next in 1968, and Fiji didn't get independence until 1970. So Samoa was a trailblazer for the independence movement in the Pacific. And so, in a way, Samoa is the big brother of the university, because it was already an established independent country when the university was born. And so it's emblematic, I think, that the 50th anniversary being celebrated here is so close to the 56th anniversary of the independence of Samoa. And both have come a long way since those early beginnings. And so my own involvement with Samoa started in 1968 when I was with the Ministry of Agriculture in Fiji, and we did a tour. The banana growers of Fiji, Tonga, and Samoa. In those days, banana growing was a big thing in the three countries. You wouldn't think it now because there's not that many bananas around anymore because of the effect of the diseases that completely decimated our industries in the late 60s. So that today, the big banana trade that we used to have then, for those of you who may remember it, we used to have a ship coming every 2 weeks to each of our ports, load up with bananas and go to New Zealand, unload, and turn around and come straight back again. And the other ship, the Tofu and the Matu, are the latest ones. And so they did a round trip continuously, completely occupied by taking bananas to New Zealand. And all that disappeared in the late 60s because of the disease that became very prevalent, which was first identified in Fiji and then was transmitted around the world because they got distributed by the winds, spores in the wind. So since then, Samoa has continued to develop. Each of the countries, in fact, have diversified their economies. Tourism has become a big thing, but agriculture remains at the heart. And of course, these days, with climate change and food security issues becoming very much more of current concern, it is still dependent on agriculture to be able to help countries and populations to survive. And so the research requirements that now are imposed on those involved in agriculture is a lot more intense than it used to be. And it has changed direction somewhat. Certainly in the years that I have spent working, as I said, the teaching system back in the 1950s is quite different from what it is now. The challenges that are now before agriculture is quite different from what it was. But it means that the industries have got to become much smarter in the way they approach things. Technology is a much bigger factor. Innovation and creative thinking in trying to devise new ways of safeguarding our food supplies is becoming important. With sea level rise, climate change, and we don't know at this time what we don't know, and there are other challenges that are likely to impact us in the future. So it's a great time to be doing these things, and the challenges are there. And I'm glad to see that publications that are still being maintained will become important as time goes on. And I really urge everyone to make more effort in developing this industry, and to contribute to making the food supplies and food systems of all our islands, because it isn't only this country, of course, that is involved. This one has, being part of the university, has contributions to make to all the other ones. And we have quite a range of of environments from atolls to volcanic islands and all the gradations in between. So it's a challenge that we all face. But I wish everyone well, and I look forward to some shorter time in the future to continue to contribute to this. And it's been a pleasure so far. I've only been in the university for 2.5 years, although I was associated earlier through the University Grants Committee, but on a more sort of remote basis. It's really only in the last 2.5 years that I have been more closely involved. It's been a great pleasure and privilege for me to be so closely involved and to be associated with the Vice Chancellor, Professor Chandra. And finally, just let me say that I would like to congratulate the Vice Chancellor and President for the contribution he has made. He will have served 10 years as the Vice Chancellor by the end of this year, when his term as Vice Chancellor is completed. And as you know, we have been in the process of recruiting a replacement, and a replacement who has the passion and the vision that Professor Chandra has displayed throughout his career. We cannot thank the Vice Chancellor, Professor Chandra, enough for his contribution, which has brought the university. I know I was with the University Grants Committee from 2006, when Professor Chandra rejoined the university in 2008 as Vice Chancellor. And I know he succeeded a Vice Chancellor who caused a lot of disruption within the university and brought it to a very bad place, in fact. And so I was one of those who was an onlooker, I suppose, from then, and was amazed and very pleasantly amazed that Professor Chandra took the reins in 2008. As I said, from a very bad situation the university was in, he's brought it to where we are today, where we are vying with the best universities in the world in terms of the reputation that we have and the contribution that we make. So I would like to, since this I may not have another opportunity, but just to pay tribute and to thank Professor Chandra for his contribution to the development of the university over these years that he has been Vice Chancellor. Of course, he was here. He was in the university long before that. But his main legacy, I think, will be what he has achieved in the years that he has been Vice Chancellor. So thank you, and congratulations again for our 50th anniversary, to the campus director, to all those who have contributed to the book launch today, and all the other events that are associated with the 50th anniversary.
Thank you very much, Pro-Chancellor, for your sharing with us your wisdom, and I'm sure all of us listening to you very carefully will take at heart your advice. And I think you have left a trail of success, and if we can continue in that direction, I think we will all be winners. And I also like to thank you for contributing so much to the university's development, and also, you're still continuing, and I'm sure you have a lot more to give in future.